Thousands filled the streets of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank today, where the Palestinian presidential compound, a state-run memorial service, was being held for Shireen Abu Akleh. She was a longtime correspondent for Al Jazeera, a Palestinian-American woman, and yesterday she was shot and killed while reporting on a raid by Israeli forces in the town of Jenin in the occupied West Bank. She died after being shot in the head, though she was wearing a helmet. Her producer was shot and injured as well. They were wearing clearly labeled press jackets. Both were veteran journalists, and they were there doing their jobs, bearing witness for those of us who are not there. The situation in the occupied West Bank has been heating up for a while now. Unfortunately, for the past 5 years or so, the United States has been largely absent from the conflict, but the violence has been escalating. One of the great difficulties in this conflict, which Palestinians argue goes back to the 1948 exodus of some 700,000 Arabs from their homes when the State of Israel was founded, is that it's sometimes hard to parse who's telling the truth about what's actually going on the ground, which is why journalists like Shireen Abu Akleh matter. They are there in the thick of it, exposing themselves to very obvious danger, bearing witness so that power can be held to account, and hopefully one day this fight, which has gone on for far too long, may end. Al Jazeera and other Western reporters on the scene quickly attributed Abu Akleh's shooting to the Israeli forces that were carrying out the raid. Israel denied the attribution, saying initially they believed she was shot by Palestinians. The Prime Minister of Israel himself then circulated a clip from this video. Israel's Prime Minister saying, quote, "There's a good chance that armed Palestinians who fired wildly are the ones who led to the unfortunate death of the journalist." Well, here's the thing. B'Tselem, an Israeli human rights organization that documents human rights violations in the occupied West Bank, geolocated that video. You can see the location of the shooter in the video. It's on the lower right of your screen where the text is. And the location where Shireen Abu Akleh was shot is in the upper left. This video now, which is sped up, is of B'Tselem walking between the 2 points. They go down an alley, around a corner, down another block, around another corner, and then down another very long road. B'Tselem says this demonstrates the shooting depicted in the video could not possibly be the gunfire that hit Shireen Abu Akleh and her colleague. The Israeli government has since backtracked on its earlier statements of attribution. An Israeli Defense Force official told the Washington Post today that Israel is now investigating the possibility that one of its own soldiers killed Shireen Abu Akleh. And Israel's defense minister conceded late last night the shot that killed her may have come from the Israeli side. Fights over attribution of violence are by no means new, but this video and the hasty Israeli blaming of a killing that may have been caused by its own military on someone else without actually having nailed that information down is a terrible way for a nation state to react to a journalist being killed in a conflict zone. Their conflict zone. Shireen Abu Akleh was 51 years old. She becomes the 17th journalist to be killed this year, many of them covering conflicts. She will be buried tomorrow in Jerusalem next to her mother.